Hey, welcome to That's Dope, another episode of the podcast, and we have some special guests with us. We brought back Dave, aka Fanbase, and we have NineOuh, who's doing his jutsu. He's the anime man, known you for years, and I
years.
haven't seen you in years, or like a while. I'm not sure if it's been
Yeah,
years.
I feel like I feel like I went ghost from the entire like anime community for a while. I feel like
Yeah,
I've been ghost and like both on a video front and on like going out to places front. I haven't actually like been out and doing stuff since like 2019, like
wow,
the end of 2019. Mostly because Corona, because like the world is ending in slow mo.
true,
Like that's the tagline of the last 2 years, and also
isn't it?
because yeah, and also because like anime has kind of been dead. Like let's not beat around the bush. Like
Is
there's
it?
not much.
I mean, you gotta tell us more about that because
Yeah,
that's
we
news
could
to
get
me.
into my thoughts on that later, but
Yeah,
like
definitely. I definitely want to hear that. I mean, that's why we brought
yeah.
you on. Like, fan base over here was like, "Hey, you got to bring him on." I'm like, "I remember that guy."
Yeah,
So,
no,
Wait, he
because
make
it's actually very nuts to me that like it's actually like extremely. Wait, am I not recording in the?
you are
you're
recording.
recording.
You're
I'm
recording.
recording. Yeah, okay. No, it's actually very nuts to me that like both of you guys are on like working on a podcast together because like that. I actually want to know how you two know each other because like that seems like it's interesting. Like,
It is a weird mashup. It's a weird crossover that for you. I'm sure it's very funny to you.
yeah, this is hilarious. This is like one guy I know from Funimation and another guy I know from like the deep bowels of of the internet that
Wow,
I used
the
to like
deep
slum
bowels
it
of the
in.
internet.
Like the deep bowels of the anime community. Like, geez, like
Yeah, like first. Well, okay. Well, with me and fan base, we met. Remember meeting him because he dressed up as Usopp, and I thought it was like the best Usopp cosplay I had ever seen. And then, but then, like more recently, like at the beginning of this year, he helped me produce an online charity celebration for One Piece. And like without him, it couldn't have happened. It was like fantastic. I thought he did a wonderful job, and now he's helping. That's
Oh,
dope,
thank you.
and I'm really grateful that he is with that. So definitely appreciate that. So how do you guys know each other?
so a long time ago. So because okay, and like some people know this about me, but because I rap as well, not just
You
YouTube
rap?
stuff.
Oh wow.
Yeah, his
Yes,
songs are
like
very good. Good,
so
if I might add.
for people who don't know, my name is 9-0, aka Mr. Black and Platinum, aka the Hot Take Intellectual. Um, Let me not do the whole thing
No,
because if
please do
people
the
who
whole thing
I'm
because
not doing,
like yeah, I don't want to introduce
If you
you
need
to
a
like
full
a
breath,
whole
you can do
oh
it.
shit,
yeah,
the
right.
internet fucked up. Oh shit, hello, is my internet good?
Uh-oh.
You're good. You're
Okay,
good
yeah,
now.
okay, yeah.
Oh
You're good. You're
yeah,
good, huh?
yeah, my shit fucked up. So but yeah, like I'm not used to, but I rap and I used to rap a lot about anime. And I would also try to like integrate my love of anime and rap in really silly ways. And one of the ways I did this was stumbling across this thing called the Anime Rap Battle League. And ladies and gentlemen, that shit it's exactly what you're okay, so you know how there's like rap okay, it was a lot of weird things smashing and mishmashing together. It was like, and it wasn't like the lame kind of rap battle culture. It was like real like black people in
Like
Philadelphia
King of the
type,
Dot
like
style.
yeah, like rap battle culture. And but you would have to pick like an anime character to rap as.
Wow.
Right, you would have to pick an anime, and you can go back and find videos of me rapping as like Hitsugaya, as like fucking
Aw.
Uryu from Bleach, as like Trafalgar Law from One Piece. Oh fucking hell,
Wow.
man! I used to have too much free time in my ass. Like
Didn't we
that shit
all?
was yo. So like fan base used to like fan base didn't really rap. Like the community was really tight knit around the anime. Like if you were good and you rap and you like were in more than one of the videos, you probably were in the Skype group and you like talked to a lot of the people who like produced the whole thing. This guy called Bushido Spirit, who is like ahead of the Shonen Knights, which was a collective that used to exist on the YouTube. I'm just throwing a bunch of old shit no
I
one
mean,
has ever
this
thought
is
about
this
or
is
heard. Like,
wow. I
This is
never
old
heard about
YouTube
this.
community.
this is like a real old niche YouTube, like the YouTube black nerd community that existed.
What did you
like,
used to call it, Jimmy? You used to call it a certain term that I love.
I hate that you're making. Okay,
It's super pretentious.
we can get like, Lord forgive me for all the classism that this phrase entails. I know, like, the anti-wokeness that this phrase entails. But when I was younger, I nicknamed the more shonen focused and urban infused part of the community. We used, like, the colloquial term was the shonen ghetto. You know, so like it was essentially like the shonen ghetto was like. It was
to my ears.
basically if you make, like, you know what type, Goswell, you know what type of videos I'm talking about, the Forever type of, like, you One Piece chapter 755 fucking,
It's
like,
the spinning chair reviewers.
like,
The spinning chair reviewers.
that's a term Giga came up with. Like I don't know how that term trickled down and became a thing in the community, like spinny chair. I remember, like, Giga used to, like, say that to me and, like, to describe a lot of the people who make those types of content. And,
Spinny
like,
chair, you said?
Yeah, spinny chair. Yeah,
Oh, I got you're in like a
yeah. Like, because the idea was those guys didn't really edit their videos and didn't really put work into it. Like, it's so fucking pretentious now. Like, now that I look back on it, like, the mindset of it, it's so, like, bro, really, like, bro, people are just making different types of videos. You want to waste your time hacking away at 750-hour, like, YouTube video essays. Someone else wants to just hop in front of a camera and talk shit. Like, you
and there's fan bases for all
like,
that. Yeah,
I'm not noble. Like, you're not noble for going one direction over the other. And I know, like, as, like, an adult, I can say that. But when I was younger, you tried to say this kind of stuff to me, I'd have told you you're a fucking pagan. I'd have said all sorts of, like, that. That's the root of a lot of the burn bridges I have now. Like, I've said a bunch of, like, wild shit to people who probably had a point, but, you know, it is what it is.
So you were against spinny chairs, or you were with spinny chairs?
I was right now, in this point in my life, I will say, make whatever kind of content you want to make.
Yeah,
like,
but back then you weren't.
Yeah, back then I was super, like, because when you're young and you first get into, like, a creative field, you're super, like, deep and pretentious about it.
Yeah,
so you learn to, like, loosen up and just really love it for what it is instead of what you think it's supposed to be. Like,
that's insightful right there. I feel like more people need to know that today.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's a lot of young people who, when they first get into a field, and this is not just YouTube, this is in animation, it's in music, it's in everything. It's when you learn to love the craft of a thing and you end up getting wrapped up in replicating the craft of the thing instead of just having fun with what you're making. You know what I mean? It's like, that's the disconnect that a lot of folks have that's the disconnect that a lot of rappers have with that, like, you know, more non-lyrical styles of hip-hop, like the more Playboy Carti style stuff. Like, that's just a type of expression. That's just how they make music.
I like that, actually. Yeah, because I think I had a problem, like, for a long time with, like, I mean, on the topic of rap, you know, like the mumble rap type of guys, right? But yeah, in the end, as long as it's not hurting anybody, it's just another expression, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I will not say that there isn't, like, okay, there are forces at play that want rap to be a certain way, that wanted rap to transition away from one thing and into a different thing. Like, something something that, like, a lot of rappers will tell you is that, like, in the mid to late 2000s, you had a lot of record execs saying things like, don't use so many words.
Like saying more, like,
yeah, like simplify, more hooks, more, like, you know, more catchy stuff. And that is, like, you know, shorten your songs, etc., etc. Like, that, whether you like it or not, if you want to, like, argue, but you know, the shit they make is fire, that's fine, that's cool. You can, like what music you like, but whether you like it or not, it is an intentional dumbing down of culture. It's an
Mm.
intentional dumbing down the music, and I'm not on something like fucking Paul Joseph Watson, where it's like, oh, cause rap music is bad and dumbed down, and we need to no,
But
none
it's
of that.
actually like a
But
conscious thing that's
but
happening
this
right
is
now, right?
a conscious decision that people in high places are making, and you have to
Mm.
think about who benefits from music not being intellectual, who benefits from music not like
Uplifting.
music targeted at like a mass of people, not
Mm-hmm.
giving a message that a mass of people like need beyond things like hedonism. And of course,
Mm.
hedonism's sick. I love smoking weed. You see me, I'm doing this right now. I love big booty
uh,
thugs and swinging their bums. I
Yeah,
love that.
yeah.
vices,
That shit is
vices,
so sick.
vices.
All vices are sick.
Yes.
But like, we have to be really like careful and think like the music means something. Music is magic. Like magic happens in the mind. Like it change. If you can change how a person experiences the world through a piece of art, that's magic in and of itself. That is the essence of casting a spell. Like that's why they call it spelling. LOL. But like
Mars?
yeah. That in and
That's a
of
bar
itself,
right there for real, honestly.
that in and of itself is like where the disconnect for me is. Like a lot of folks, I do like a lot of music that is less that is less lyrical, less bars heavy. It's just focused on like fuckery and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also remember a time when even the fuckery was bars.
Yes.
Like
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think about these it's like
Wu-Tang,
who's saying the
people,
most repugnant shit,
yeah,
right?
people get
He's
it
saying it the
twisted. Like,
best way.
yeah, people get it twisted. Like R.I.P. Look at DMX. Like DMX was like
There's a reason that we
barring
say
the
RP.
he was barring the shit out of people, but
Oh.
like he was also saying crud. Like
Yeah.
the guy was just saying a
That's
bunch
a
of
good way
like
to put it. Yeah.
heinous shit, like a bunch of haters, like foul stuff. Like Wu-Tang wasn't rapping on some like PhD stuff.
Yeah. But
Like
their stuff was good though. Like even though like
absolutely.
I agree with you. Honestly, like I agree with you. Like wow, like just as I was starting to come around to like mumble rap, now I'm back to like hating it again. Right?
I'm not to say that it's like, oh, it's all bad,
Yeah,
because
it's
there's a bunch of dudes who like still spit. Like Denzel Curry definitely is one of those guys.
he's
who's
not a
like,
mumble rapper though.
he's not a mumble rapper at all. That's what I mean. Like it's there's a bunch of dudes who are not in that vein who still kind of ride that line.
Yeah, I mean, J. Cole just showed us right now with like his off season, like he just came out with some straight up heat and bars. Like, people still got it, but yeah, the stuff that's celebrated now is, it's not my jam, but at the same time, I don't come down on it as I used to come down on it, right?
Yeah.
I think like it's like yeah, like there's a lot of there's something for everybody. And yeah, to hear like now like that they're really trying to dumb it down on purpose, that's a bummer. But let's celebrate the good ones, right? So
Like I feel the same way about like anime. Like
yeah.
there's a bunch of
really?
like I tweeted
Something I know
today.
a little something about.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I tweeted today. I tweeted today on some like anime. This is actually something like we could this whole thing ties into race, ties into everything.
Uh-huh.
So because the tweet I made today was anime didn't stop being good in the mid 2000s. You just stopped liking it, right? And that ties into an earlier thing that happened. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the podcast Champagne Sharks.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, they're really cool. They're kind of like a more urban centric trap house type kind of vibe. Yeah, like
more politics, I guess.
Like a political podcast, but like from more like a black point of view.
Gotcha. Okay.
One of them kind of like I don't know which one because it's the one that operates the account, so it could have been any of them. They posted this guy. He's a really good artist. I don't know if you guys follow him. His name is Nicholas Draper Ivy.
Oh yeah, I love his stuff. I'm trying to get him on the podcast.
Exactly. Nick Ivy's great. Like they posted a piece of his art because he's drawing the new Static Shock.
The Static Shock.
Yeah, and one of the things they said was, and this is what really got me in like a mood. It was like one of the things they said was, "Oh, he looks, like Huey Freeman, anime-esque, and like racially ambiguous, like or some shit." And I'm like, bro.
Racially ambiguous.
First off, I've seen this. Like, I don't know if you can pull up the pictures or if you're editing this anywhere. If you like, anyone looking at this, just look up Static Shock 2021.
Oh yeah,
Like, just
he's killing it. Like
you,
I'll make sure to post. I'll make sure to
yeah,
make something about
he
that.
does not like, regardless of even if the art's bad or good. Of all things, Static does not look racially ambiguous whatsoever.
Straight up looks
I don't
black.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came. I don't know where that came from. I eventually got blocked for bringing it. I added Nick. I was like, hey, I think this is just an issue you have with this person's art, and it's like, I don't know. The thing that I was getting at though is that, like, I said, oh, this is what happens when, like, I quoted their tweet was like, this is what happens when you have like an irrational hatred of anime, like, you know, based on your own Western biases. And the guy hit me with some like, oh, I've been watching anime since the 80s. I just think this. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, and I'm sure. And in my mind, whenever someone throws that at me, whenever someone like attacks modern anime, and then I'm like, all right, so you just hate anime then, and then they throw back at me, oh no, I love anime. I've been watching it since the 80s. That's the last time it was good. Like, bro, it's like you're making my argument fucking for me. You know what I mean? Like,
you're limiting.
You like anime from back when the Western distributors picked the right ones that fit your fancy. You know what I mean? That's like the mindset that a lot of these folks it's like the Toonami type watchers. It's like the people who are into stuff
who are stuck in their nostalgia. They can't move on to like what's happening today because they're just so stuck on like what used to be, right?
They liked being spoon-fed,
and it's like
the licensors were gatekeeping for them.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like,
in a way, I like to fan base. To your point, like, it's like, actually, I don't even really mind. Like, in fact, I sort of like miss the times of like when people like, you know, TV shows and just be like, okay, what's on TV, and then you see something, or you're sort of forced to watch that.
There was definitely like a charm to that, and there's definitely like a way, like, there was definitely like a great part of culture that provided. But in my
Absolutely,
opinion,
like, we were all sort of synchronized. You know, right now we're desynchronized. Like, where it's like, oh, do you watch the new Castlevania? No, you know, I'm so busy with watching whatever else is. And for me, I think there is like a sort of charm in being able to bond over like a shared experience. You know, although now we get more freedom. We got so much more freedom these days, right?
It's one of those things where, like, you find like a show that completely piques your entire interest, but you know it's not something that anyone else in your immediate friend circle is gonna give a fuck about. Like, I was on HBO. I was on HBO Max recently, and I was watching a show called Warrior, right? And it's essentially based on like a treatment that Bruce Lee wrote that got turned down by a bunch of different executives because they didn't want to cast it with an Asian lead. It's essentially like a kung fu western that Bruce Lee wanted to star in. So the treatment got tossed around. No one ever made it. Bruce Lee died and never got made. So his daughter ended up getting a team together and turning that treatment into a TV show. And that's Warrior. And it's
like, it just came out.
Yeah, it's got 2 seasons on HBO Max, and it's fucking sick. And it's like it's like, no, I love that fucking show, and no one knows about it. I've not.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it. Yeah, like, it sounds like that should be like a big deal because
like,
Bruce Lee with the legacy, right?
Yeah, exactly, and it's a really good show because it's got element. They do this really cool thing where, like, so all the Asian actors are like either the main characters from Britain. He's like a Japanese British guy, but like a lot of the other characters are like Chinese American. So what they do is they'll have them speak Chinese to each other in certain sequences, and they'll like speak to the white people in like broken English. But when they speak Chinese, they did it like they illustrated with this really cool sick shot. Like, they speak Chinese to each other, and then the camera pans, and then they're like talking in really like fluent American slang to each other.
Wow.
Like, so it's like whenever the Chinese are talking,
transition.
Yeah, whenever the Chinese are talking to each other, it's like they're talking in English slang, but like whenever they're talking to like the white people and everyone else, that no one ever knows whether they can speak English or not. So like they play with stuff like that in the show, and it's really cool. Like, that's
pretty cool.
And it's something you could only do if you got a cast that could equally speak Chinese. Like, they speak Cantonese in the show. Like, equally speak Cantonese and speak English in in a convincing American accent. It's
interesting how British people can do the American accent better than Americans can.
Yeah, sometimes.
I mean,
Sometimes it's pretty much.
I haven't. I can't do a British accent at all, so But that's pretty impressive. I'm surprised I haven't heard about that at all. Warrior, you called it? Is what it's called?
Yeah, Warrior. It's a Warrior. They just go Warrior, and I think that's the reason why no one's seen it because it's got a
Because
really
there's so
generic
many.
name.
Exactly.
It's
It's like
got a really generic. It's got a really generic name.
it
Like
makes me think
it
about the
deserves a more.
MMA. Yeah, it makes me think of the
Yeah,
MMA
like
movie. Yeah, so I'm just sort of like, oh damn,
Oh
like
yeah.
yeah, like they need to move away from the generic. They should at least called it Bruce Lee's Warrior or something like that. Then
yeah, that
Netflix
would
stuck
have
with it.
been no, that would have made more sense. Yo, like Sharon Lee is missing. Like I don't know why they didn't call it Bruce Lee's. Like what they'll do is they'll have
Bankruptcy
Warrior, and then
estate.
like well yeah, what they'll do is like they'll have Warrior. And then at the bottom of it, they'll be like, based on something done by Bruce Lee. And it's like, nah, dog, what you need is, you have to Tom Clancy that shit. You have to make it
Tom Clancy's, yeah.
Yeah, you have to Bruce Lee's Warrior. If I had seen that, if I had seen Bruce Lee's Warrior and I had seen it like anywhere else, I would have watched it like, I would have been watching it week by week.
Oh, absolutely. People, the whole internet would be talking about it. Yeah, the fact that
but like the fact that they didn't name it that is like it's flown under so many radars. They almost canceled that shit. Like like HBO had to pick it up. Like
that sucks.
And,
yeah,
and now that it was on Cinemax.
Well, Cinemax.
Can you imagine? That's another thing. Like that's another thing I want to talk about. And this is actually like very important to anime as well. Yeah. Like this streaming landscape, for a multitude of reasons, and I would implore people to watch the last video I did on this. Like for a multitude of reasons, the streaming landscape as it is in 2021, this is the future they promised us. We're in it. Where everything is online, we can watch whatever we want, we can log in and like it's all on demand. This is the future they promised us, and we can already see the cracks. We can already see where it's not working. If I want to watch one property and it somehow gets traded without anyone knowing, or the license expires without anyone knowing, now my movie night's ruined because I brought everyone here. I pay for Netflix. I thought this movie was on Netflix. I was gonna put it on Netflix. I'm not gonna shell out another $12 to get Hulu just because it moved there. You know what I mean? Like it's little stuff like that. Like it's little stupid shit like that has made this like streaming shit completely inoperable. And you know it's one thing for it to suck, right? It's one thing for it to like be rubbish. But it can't be rubbish and replicate the same conditions for work that they were already doing before. You know what I mean? You can't just be rubbish and still starve the animators in Japan. You can't just be rubbish and still harass people on set. You know what I mean? Like it can't still suck in every.
It should be better
capacity.
For them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like at this point, money is coming in easier and quicker. Like
I'm really shocked that like Japanese creators are suffering with it. You know, the fact that the highest paid the directors, you know, the top of the branch, they're getting paid $50,000, you know, equivalent. You know, and like the bottom, you know, the in betweeners, like they're getting paid.
Bro, these people, like my rent would eat most of their check,
like, which is crazy. Like I'm surprised.
Nuts. They get paid like $800 a month, and Japan has like and that's like on the like if you work at like a decent studio like Mappa, like if you work at like a studio that makes anime that sells. A lot of these people are working on like $600, $500 a month. And I get it. Japan has a lot of things that accommodate having no money. There's healthcare. There's food stamp programs. There's a few different ways. The
fact that they're getting paid so little for work that the whole world is paying for, like the whole world like wants to fund this.
They're like living in these, and I know this is gonna sound like, oh god, I found this one crazy thing about Japan, but no, a lot of people know this about Japan. A lot of people live in these tiny apartments that cost around $200 to $300 a month, right? So they're getting paid. They're getting paid like a menial amount, and like they are living in these places that are like, it's like a shoebox. Like essentially, imagine the space where your room is. Like, okay, God's will. You see that? I don't know what that poster is about. Essentially, where that Pokemon poster is, like the bottom of it, where that cuts off, that's the room. Yeah, that's exactly. Like that's the room for a lot of these people. They're living in stuff like that, and it's like, is that a way to live? No, like it's not humanity. It's like it makes me think of that Junji Ito story. It's like, this is my hole. It was made for me. Like,
only I can fit in this hole, though, right?
Godswill, do you get a lot of? Do you go over this a little bit at work? Does this discussion come up at work, or is there anything that Jimmy might mention that you're not
Mhm.
allowed to talk about, like say licensing,
Uh,
or because
Luckily,
I know,
nothing yet like that. Like it's like, oh, because it is getting like more like close to home. But luckily, nothing. Like yeah, I just avoid like
I
the things
haven't
I
talked
can't
about
talk about.
I haven't talked about manga at all, so that's the reason why. Like
Right, like, so
I've
you
kept
haven't
my
touched
mouth
the
on
manga.
manga. Yeah,
For
like
animated struggles, like that's something I've always wondered. Like, why is that so hard to like fix?
no, like because it's not hard to fix. It's not
It
hard to.
shouldn't
Number
be.
one,
Like I should imagine
no,
that they all should be eating better. Yeah.
or
okay.
eating.
This is it's the labor theory of value, right? It's the
Yeah.
labor theory of value. We live in a society where so like I'll use the animation like I'll use like a one type of business as a really easy example. Say I fucking own an apple farm, right?
Uh huh.
And I bring in three people to pick apples out of the ground for me, right?
Okay.
In a day, they pick out 700 apples each, right? And so that's 700 times three. That's 2,100. That's 2,100 apples, and I sell each apple for $10 a pop. So now I make $21,000. But all of these people at the end of the month, they pull in $2,000 each, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they did all the work to get the apples out of the ground,
Mm-hmm.
right? They literally went out in menial labor using their own tools because I didn't pay for their tools, like using their own like wit and skill because I didn't raise them,
Mm-hmm.
like using their own like hard work because I didn't educate them on how
Mm-hmm.
to do it. Like I just got these contractors. In some cases I might pay them, in some cases I might educate them, but it doesn't really change the end goal that at the end of the day I pull in more than they do
Yeah.
because all I did was facilitate the situation. Because I happen to own the land that they're picking and it
Mm.
doesn't matter how I found my way to own that land. It
You
doesn't
do.
matter how. It
Right.
just matters that I do exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter how these animation companies found their way to owning these studios and owning these methods by which this stuff is produced. They simply do, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter
And they make
how
the
much.
rules.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much work. Like that's the thing. The surplus of what is created, like the fact that I can now that loads of people like apples, I can now charge $20 per apple, and look what happens.
Get more money, but you
I'm
still
pulling.
pay them the same.
Now, like, and here's the crazy part about this part, and this is where it gets crazy, Godswill. I'm pulling in $42,000 a month now, but you want to know what
Okay.
happens? They're still getting paid $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't change how much they're paid, but I changed how much I got paid.
Yeah.
That's the racket of this. That's
Yeah.
the
Are the
beautiful.
deal? Are the deal,
That's
baby?
that's the beautiful racket of this thing.
It
That's how it works.
makes a
That's,
ton of
and I, like,
sense. But
like yeah, no,
it's
but
such a
like
bummer, though.
that's just the concrete law of capitalism. That's how every business structure works.
Yeah.
Like that's how every business structure works. So like they can continue changing how much value they create, but they don't have to change how much surplus they how much surplus they make. They can just keep making more surplus. They don't. No one gets to argue with them about what happens to that surplus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one gets to be like, "Hey, this is not fucking good. We don't want you to own the labor that we've been fucking putting in." And a lot of the time, what happens now if one month I'm like, you know what, apples ain't coming that much. You get 1,800. Because I get to choose how much you get paid. You don't actually get to like argue with me. Because if you want to not
If you
work,
want to keep working here, right?
if you want to keep working, I can just let you go and bring someone else who
and
work
get
for
someone else who
1,500.
will.
I'll get someone else who work for 1,500 apples. Isn't that crazy? But
Yeah.
$1,500, like that's the difference. That's the difference, right? So that's essentially what we've done with the animation industry. We've created a situation where there's so much surplus. The surplus right now is more than it's been in the history of Japanese animation. Like
Yep.
that's a concrete fact. You work in this industry, you know these numbers yourself. Like this is, and now like even though that surplus is more so than ever before, they're still getting paid the same as they always used to be. And one could argue this is the fault of this is a leftover from the 90s when like a lot of like laws were passed to allow this kind of like poor wage to be in place. And the thing is, you could argue that this all just goes back to the fact that Japan for a long time has been ruled by the LDP, which is essentially just a political party founded and run by Yakuza who were given American money to run Japan. Like,
Wow.
look, it was there's a lot of like bullshit in history that led us to this point, but the point is this. The point is this: the people who make these Japanese cartoons that you love so much, that you like live your life for, they are starving and sad, and a lot of them are killing themselves, and a lot of them are quitting their jobs, risking homelessness because they just don't want to work at these shitty places anymore with these
Man.
shitty conditions anymore. And you want to know what happens when enough people quit in the animation industry?
What
That's when people aren't able to make deadlines. And when people aren't able to make deadlines, that's when you start look. That's when the seasonal chart starts looking a bit shifty. You know what I mean? Like that's when like spring, winter, summer, and fall don't really give the same stuff that you see when you look on any list. Like it's a different amount that get produced because stuff isn't getting finished.
And do you
And
think that like them quitting will like help them, or are they going to be like outsourced?
I think the goal now, in my opinion, that the jobs are definitely getting outsourced. Like
Uh,
it's easy. Like if you're just some random schmuck who with an animation degree from any fucking half 2-bit art college, it doesn't
uh-huh.
matter if you come from Malaysia or fucking Minnesota. Like you will be able to get a job working in the animation industry in Japan. Japan will hire you. They are hiring anyone. That's the other part. Anime is gonna start sucking now. Like, cause they're hiring anyone, and I don't mean that on some like, oh, people who come in and who, like only pure Japanese Nippon Steel can make the best anime. No, that's not what I'm saying. But that there is like, I'm serious when I'm saying they are hiring anyone. They will like look at people who have like 1,000 followers based on the fact that they make like, I don't know, fan art for fucking Undertale or some shit. And if it's
Uh-huh.
got like, if they're able to like achieve the most minimal amount of Sakuga, they get a fucking Twitter DM from Mappa or fucking Bones saying, "Hey, come work on the show for like $100 a fucking like $100 for the whole fucking job." Like they're underpaying the people. And another thing is because these not, I'm not going to say anything mean to them because they're hardworking folks, but because these kids who are just so bright eyed and they just love Mongolian smoke paintings. Like they just love Japanese, they just love Japanese cartoons so much.
Uh-huh. They're so
They just enjoy,
excited to
like
jump
they just
in,
yeah. They're so like,
just
and
take
that's
whatever offer they're given.
the saddest
I get to
part.
work
Like
on One Piece.
Yeah.
Wow, so
I've always said this. No one get like, and this is the part that always makes me so sad about the exploitation they receive. No one who jumps into this industry is doing it for the money. No one.
For the
We
love,
don't
really, yeah.
like. There's no Todd McFarlane's anymore. There's no like superstar artists who are trying to like make a quick buck with drawing. Like that spirit doesn't really exist because you can't really do it anymore. In like, in especially in Japan. Like if you want to do that, go draw manga. Like if you like, that's the difference. If you wanna make like money, go draw manga. Don't be an animator. The people who are being animators, the people who are like drawing these 100 frames a day for these shows where they get barely any recognition because most of them were in betweens and they get paid the same amount as a doorman. Like these people are doing it for the love of what they make. They're doing it because they love drawing, because they love what they create. And the saddest part is they don't even get paid enough to support themselves, and that's killing this industry. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this guy named Econ. Like he's another YouTube guy, also Twitter guy, kind of like in the anime sphere. He has this like statistic he loves to throw at me, where he says the average age of animators 10 years ago was 27. The average age of animators now is 37. Like people aren't like, there's new animators aren't really coming into the industry, and the ones that are like the outsourced talent from places like America who are willing to take even less pay. So it's
And
like,
you see this on Twitter too. You'll occasionally see someone on Twitter being really happy, and I'm happy for them because that's sick. They're finally working on One Piece. They're finally working with Toei, and it's their big dream. And I'm like, I'm happy for them. And now that you're bringing this all up, I'm like, oh no,
yeah,
no,
exactly,
Yeah, it's like,
no.
are they getting
exactly.
exploited, or are they really being
That
able to
that
do their
definitely get
dreams?
exploited. Like it's and yes, these are your dreams, and follow them, follow these passions. Like these people deserve to. They just like a lot of them. When I know that I'm saying that they're hiring anyone, but if you get a job, good on you, dog. Like if you actually are one of the people, if you are one of the anyone that they're hiring, fucking good on you. Like you are definitely
Good
like
on
making
you.
exactly, like you are definitely like making your way. Like, but that does not change the nature of the industry and the nature of the bigger beast and the bigger picture at play here. Like this this industry is going to Ouroboros itself, and
Hmm.
what will take its place is something that people who our age will not recognize as anime. And when that happens, I don't know. I don't know if I'm still gonna be that keen on talking about it. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Dang.
the weird place I'm at recently.
Do you think that's
Like
happening right now already, or do you think
it's you know stuff
like do
that
you still
isn't.
have a passion for anime also like
Oh,
right now?
I still love anime. Like
Yeah.
this is what I've put my entire like. I've put all my chips in this basket. I can't really like fold now. Like
Yeah. Hmm.
like
How
it's
can we pump and dump anime?
how you can. Oh, that's actually
Or,
very fucking easy. I'm not going to actually say how, but say
aw,
I don't know. You're looking at the trends and seeing who's watching what, and noticing that certain different buyouts are getting challenged in certain territories. It might be a good time in investing in a bunch of companies that aren't Sony, or at the very least, short selling Sony, because it's probably going to get slammed with an antitrust lawsuit where it won't be allowed to buy Funimation, and it's going to drop quite a few points. So that's some free financial advice from your Uncle Nine.
that's not financial advice.
Oh yeah, that's some free not financial advice from your Uncle Nine.
There you go.
I'm not
We're
a financial
talking about Chinese
I'm not-
cartoons.
I'm not a
Oh,
financial
man.
expert. I'm not a financial expert. I just love Chinese cartoons. I just love the Chinese cartoon stuff. I just love the Chinese
That was an
cartoons.
anime review by Jimmy, aka NineOuh.
There we go,
Exactly.
man.
Yeah.
Man,
Kaiji. That was a Kaiji review.
man,
Yeah.
like this is good to hear though, because it's like, wow, like it feels like anime is like bigger than ever before. I mean, like we just
Oh,
saw with the
absolutely.
Demon Slayer movie, like breaking like all types of records, but then also hearing the underbelly, like it sounds like it's really rotting, unfortunately, huh?
But like when I say anime is like what I want people to be key into is that it's gonna become something you don't recognize.
Mm,
And when I
Like
say
like
that, like aesthetically, culturally, narratively, anime is going to completely like flip itself soon. Like either like on the Japanese side, like because what's going to happen is different fiefdoms, so to speak, are going to spring up in what gets called. It's not just going to be anime anymore. But I guess what folks are going to end up having to do is going to have to classify this as serious animation, I guess,
mm,
because it's getting made by more than just anime studios. Things
just
like Powerhouse,
Japanese.
yeah, things like
Hmm.
Powerhouse.
That's a great point. Yeah, like
Um,
Castlevania, like is
yeah,
made an Austin, Texas based group, Powerhouse,
um,
and
and like whoever made the Invincible
yeah,
like show, like
oh,
yeah, Amazon, but like I forget who in Amazon
like
or like what other studio.
unless that was Powerhouse too, I'm not sure. Like
I don't think
then this
so.
no, I think it was Studio Mir. I'm not sure.
Let
Like
me look it up
Studio
real
Mirror
quick.
also did the Dota Dragon's Blood thing, which is pretty decent. Like it wasn't great, but it was interesting. Like it was an interesting take on what anime could be. Like
Mm.
there's a bunch of cool stuff that isn't Japanese, and then there's, so to speak, China. Let's not even get started with them ones. Like
Oh yeah,
China's
like
got like
they started.
they're cranking out shows every season. Like they should. I think like people need to focus and make the seasonal charts for China, because they're making a lot of shows. Like they're making a lot of shows that people aren't putting on like the charts that you see for anime.
Wow.
And
Yeah, like I
it's
found out about one that they just put out recently that looks beautiful and like it was a great
Heaven
action series.
something, like it's on Netflix. I know, like it's really like
Mm.
they like that, or Something's Disciple. Like they make a lot of China is really committed to the hit to wuxia as like a genre. Like
Hmm.
they
it's a
kind
good
of
genre.
never, yeah, they kind of never let it go. Like it's one of those things where like it's almost as it's more ingrained in China to love wuxia than it is in like for Americans to love like
Westerns.
westerns and cowboys. Even to be honest, I would say even for Japanese to love samurai, like wuxia is older and more ingrained and more like it's now that there's like these big budget anime studios that can bring it to life. They can bring it to life in ways that like it's definitely more accurate to how these stories were like thought of when they were being
Mm.
talked about, like as opposed to like the limitations like a live action thing would have.
Oh
Like
yeah, like
give you
hidden
the,
crouching,
you know,
hidden dragon, crouching tiger.
crouching tiger, hidden
Yeah, there we go.
dragon,
I was
like
like, however
that
you
kind of
say
stuff.
it.
Like it's a really good movie, but like you could tell there's stuff that like if
Wires
they,
and
yeah,
yeah,
if
they
they
want
had
it to
like,
go harder if they could, but could they
yeah,
really?
but and in anime they can, like with animation, it's absolutely
Yeah,
possible to go as hard as you want. Like it's absolutely possible. So
that's a
like
great way. What is wuxia like? Is that just like the
so
warriors? I guess right. Like
the wuxia is like WUXIA. Wuxia is like it's really a combination of swords and sorcery with like palace intrigue and like it's Chinese swords and sorcery essentially, where like all the fights,
okay, cool.
everyone can fly, they have swords, they do flips, they control like elements and shit. Like a lot
Uh
of
huh.
it is about gods and stuff. Like you've got stuff about like Sun Wukong, like a lot of stuff that has to do with
Ninja, I remember.
like ninja, like that stuff. Yeah. So anyway, like it's crazy that like like to any Chinese person or even any Asian person, like this stuff is kind of ingrained in the culture, like, and it's really cool to see it get more of a presence in the animation industry because
Mm-hmm.
it feels like they've deserved, in my opinion, like Chinese mythology deserves more of like a push than any kind of like King Arthur swords and sword. Like we've seen that stuff, we've seen like
Mm-hmm.
Lord of the Rings type shit enough. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like we need to get really into like I'm very much more for seeing more like Asian mythology on screen,
That's a cool
and
point.
I'm happy that like uh I think what this one company that's like getting just pumped up with money by Tencent, Howliners, this animation company called Howliners, and they're like they you definitely see that they're of all the studios, they're definitely the ones right now that are like getting given a lot of like startup capital because
Mm.
they're able to pay for long lavish like really intricate scenes, and I don't know if they're hiring Japanese animators. A lot of the people they hire are Chinese, and like they kind of do have a, like all
Mm.
animation nowadays is kind of
Keep it like really
multicultural.
in house.
It's kind of multicultural because of the internet, but they do still hire a
Uh
lot of
huh.
like Chinese animators who are really sick, and that's the scary part for like I don't know. Maybe this is weird, but I do definitely always root for a certain amount of Japanese pride, despite not to be a weeb or nothing. Like I do feel like they should come out with a few more like hard hitting revolutionary type series. A lot of the biggest, most interesting
Mm-hmm.
stuff coming out of Japan right now are like either sequels, endings, like
Mm.
long running. Like the Madoka movies, really exciting
Do you
to
even mean
see.
like original, like no manga, just like original, or do you mean like
Like
trying to
Original.
take on like more
where
original
was when was the
manga?
last
Like just
time?
not like the long running titles.
Well, when was the like okay? Aside from Jujutsu Kaisen, which like has been a popular manga since like 2017, like when
Mm-hmm.
was the last time we? What was the last time we really had like
Mm-hmm.
an original anime just completely? And I don't mean take like
Yeah, taking
the fan.
over.
And I don't mean take the fans of that particular because a lot of original stuff gets made that is like made by
Yeah,
a
more
creator that people
mainstream,
like.
right?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
where
like
was the
maybe Demon
last
Slayer,
time?
but
When was the
otherwise,
last time an original anime? Yeah, but that was based on like a popular shonen manga. Like, when was the last time something like Gurren Lagann? You know, something like Code Geass.
yeah, that's
So
true.
like it's like some that
Bono
just like
Bono. Bono
yeah,
Bono.
so some that just came out of nowhere and was just like like last one was like ReZero in my opinion. Like ReZero
Yeah.
maybe even though that was like a light novel, but like light novels kind of like get translated into anime anyway. But like ReZero was like the
Mm-hmm.
last big one, but even that didn't like it kind of fizzled out. Most
Yeah,
people
to
don't
get the
really talk about
mass. Yeah, I didn't get the
like
mass. Yeah, like how like
there hasn't anime hasn't had like a real moment in a long time, and a lot of folks are like, "Oh, what about Attack on Titan? Oh, what about this?" That's just the stuff that's like Attack on Titan is like I look at that the way Martin Scorsese looks at the Marvel movies. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Really.
there's a difference between how a Marvel movie grips a culture and
Mhm.
between how the Dark Knight gripped the culture. You know what I mean? Or between how
Are you
like
talking like
no, yeah, continue, David.
Hey,
Yeah,
what did I say?
are you talking like an impact like how Naruto gripped Western audiences?
Yeah, kind of like
Like,
that. Kind of like that. Not, and it's like because now I feel like Naruto has kind of gypped the anime fandom in a way.
Oh yeah, I guess
Naruto
with
and
Boruto.
Naruto and DBZ have kind of like, well, not even
Mm,
in that regard. They both have gypped anime in a way where it's like everybody wants to like measure up the new stuff to
to
see
those.
if it like, yeah, like is it good enough? Oh, that nigga can't beat Go. Like I feel like he can't beat Goku is more than just a physical strength thing for a lot of people. Like it's like a, you can't match up to the legacy of this series,
Mm,
this like culture, this impact that was left. And it's weird because now it's almost like every single anime, every
it's
single
measured up to
like
that.
shonen, like modern shonen thing is not even in the sense that it's measuring up. It's getting funneled through the same channels that people consume like the really popular stuff. So of course they're gonna see it. Of course they're gonna read it. Of course they're gonna like be inundated with it. Like you're gonna see Jujutsu Kaisen whether you like it or not. You're gonna log on to Crunchyroll, it's gonna be there.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna log on to
Uh-huh.
Funimation, it's gonna be there. You're gonna log on to Twitter, people are gonna be talking about it. You're gonna be walking outside, you're gonna be on the train, you're gonna see a fucking pack of like 18-year-olds with their little like
Their
bags, and
backpacks
they're
and
gonna have
yeah,
Gojo with his tongue out on a t-shirt.
yeah,
Like that's
yep.
that's 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 basically what the culture that we live in now. Like you can't escape these things anymore. Like that's why I say you can't really act like shonen stuff is bringing that impact. And it's like maybe we won't get something like Gurren Lagann or something like Code Geass where we all just get gripped and like held by a story together in that like collective sense, because as an anime watching culture, we all just want different things. We all just
Mm-hmm.
like different things too much.
Mm-hmm.
And we all just are like too wrapped up in like living in our own like fiefdoms, I guess. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we
but
don't really, like, can't really
now,
explore as much, right?
yeah, like no one really wants to explore. No one really, not even in the sense of exploring, because I feel like people like to explore, but they'll explore like a style that they like. They'll
Mm-hmm.
explore like a specific thing that they're into, and that's
Mm-hmm.
great. That's like sick. But a lot of them don't necessarily know they, especially younger folks who aren't super, who like they'll like post online as if they're super into the stuff, but when you actually like get them to like really
Talk about it.
interrogate,
Yeah, like, do they
interrogate,
know?
like they don't know, but it's not on some like, oh, they don't know, so why interact with them. But it's on
Mm,
some like, they don't know, but like if they want to know, can they find out? Do they find out? Like
mm.
that's
Like,
but
there's
I
not like a
get.
depth of like the love, I guess, of the culture as much, maybe.
Yeah, like some people don't have. For some people, anime is just cartoons they watch on the weekend, and
Mm-hmm.
for other people, it's more than that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
so like same as how for some people, like pro wrestling is just like, something that was on TV in the background on Mondays, and for
Mm-hmm.
other people, WrestleMania means a whole week off your schedule, and you're going to whatever city it's in, and you're gonna be at every single fucking match, at every single fucking sub event before the big show, eating a hot dog at the fucking stand. Like the different
Uh-huh.
people interact with things differently, and different
Wow.
people want different things from what they get, like like what they love in the world. Like so, with that being said, I can't really fault people for not being as into stuff as say like we are,
Mm-hmm.
but it
Yeah,
does
we're
get
kind of
frustrating.
obsessive weirdos.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no, no, to
I'll
be
take
real,
that.
not really. Like, it's like, don't get me wrong. Yes, we're deep in it, but
Well,
we're
I'm an
also.
obsessive
I
weirdo.
mean, don't get me wrong, but you're not wearing an anime shirt right now, right? Yeah, like, or wearing like a cosplay thing. I mean, I have the most
That's
anime stuff
fair.
on my walls, right?
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
right
have it on
now,
my
like
laptop.
right now, the only thing I moved into this apartment in January, so I haven't really been like
It's a nice
decorating
Okay, yeah,
much.
apartment.
not yet.
Like,
Decked
yeah,
out.
and, all I've got so far is that, which is like a Samurai Champloo poster, which is pretty
Mm-hmm.
small. Like, yeah, I've got like a Gurren Lagann poster on the other side, which I
Hey.
think you can see that.
Uh huh.
So it's two. Like I have those two little things right there. But I'm trying to get both of these the walls like fucking covered and stuff. Like, and then the brick is
Yeah.
gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna put on the brick. I don't know if I should put more like a wall scroll on it, or if I should put like more like I don't know. I was gonna get the big Team Daiguren wall scroll. It's like 20
Oh,
feet.
I need to get that.
I want to
But
get a tattoo of that. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, yeah, like the fandoms, like I am interested to see like how it's gonna grow, and like I mean, honestly, this whole talk has been like really like insightful. Like, I mean, you're definitely showing yourself to be quite the anime sage. You know, like you definitely have earned your stripes.
So,
I
tell
haven't
us a
even
little bit of
really.
anime editorial
It's,
when you have a
Yeah.
chance.
it's crazy because I haven't even really talked about anime. I've just talked about stuff tangential to anime and like
I
the
mean, hey,
industry
the
and all
culture
itself.
of
Like,
anime, you know, like it's this is like what people like really need to know about, you know, like the
yeah,
background and then also like what's gonna be happening with the culture, you know, because it is good to hear about like the optimistic side about it, but also it's like, well, how is it really? You know, what's the health of anime, right? Is it
do you guys want to hear about? I don't know if you guys like are sick of the zeitgeist, but like I have some takes about
I'm all
Nagatoro.
about it. Please tell me some more. We got some more time.
Tell
Oh,
So
Nagatoro.
yeah.
Gonzalo,
oh
do
my
you know anything
gosh.
about Nagatoro? I know a little bit about that show,
I
but
don't know too much about it. I just know that some people got mad because of like how the subs went or something like that, right? But
I'm
okay,
vexed
okay.
because like niggas really weren't they wasn't with us shooting in the gym. Nagatoro has been on air for a long time.
really?
Nagatoro has been like a show like yeah like and it's not just Nagatoro. Like I think now it's also like it's getting to be a thing that's in Wonder Eggs dub too,
Okay.
where it's liberal use of localization, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So you've got on one hand the Nagatoro thing,
Uh-huh.
where I can't necessarily remember what people were belly aching about, but it's essentially about something about so it's an issue. Yeah,
Like
the Nagatoro thing is an issue with subs, and
they said sus or something like that, right?
the Wonder Egg thing is an issue with dubs. So
Okay.
yeah, the the Nagatoro situation, there's a few different things I have an issue with there.
Okay.
Subs nowadays, let's actually be frank, like subs in general, if you're watching on an official platform, and
Hmm.
this is very specific, if you're watching on an official platform, subs suck. They are rubbish now.
Really? Okay.
Oh, Gonzalo.
They're either slightly mistimed, they're either not visibly legible, they're
Uh-huh.
either not like just visibly pleasing to look at, like they kind of like obstruct the actual image of the
Mm.
series, and they don't
Mm-hmm.
actually make for
I
like
have seen that.
back in the day subs had a very subtle font to them, so
Uh-huh.
like they kind of blended in with the feel of the show, and they also had a very thick shadow to make you distinctly see where, like, it had a very thick shadow around the words, not around the whole, not like a block of
Mm-hmm.
shadow around it. It was a very thick shadow around the individual words, so that it kind of just crept in and out of diegesis as you needed to see them, because that's how
Mm-hmm.
subtitles are meant to be. Like, they're meant to
Yeah,
be
not
a,
to like be the main focus. Yeah, just to
yeah,
be there so you can actually see what's happening, right?
and also they don't rhythmically subtitle anymore. Back in the day, people used to subtitle based on, well, like, say I'm enunciating my words, they would take every single word I'm saying and then subtitle that. They would like take spaces between what I was saying and then subtitle each of those. Now you'll have like a mini paragraph when someone talks, and it gets really
Uh-huh.
boring to fucking read.
I
And I
know
know
what I know what the fuck
you
you're
just
talking about.
noticed that I brought this up, but notice how you didn't. You would probably remember when you were like 14 watching stuff on like iMovie, wherever. You didn't have to deal with that because they would block out everything. It would of course, it would sometimes come across as stilted because if you're trying to directly translate Japanese, it's gonna come across a little bit stilted, but it was
Mm-hmm.
still
Like
legible.
more formal.
It was still like something you want to like watch. And
Uh-huh.
like now, I feel like now that it's done by committee, which it is, because you have to do a bunch of shows now, like subtitles just like suck, dog. Like, it's just rubbish. Like, stuff has gotten worse. The future is here, and stuff has gotten worse. Like,
Is it to the point, although is it to the point of like, okay, like the world is falling down, or is it just sort of like, there's things that could be
no,
better?
no, but like, okay, so that is, so obviously there's things that could be better and everything, but like the
Mm-hmm.
one, because the one, like that is like just the form and function of subtitles, right?
Uh-huh.
I haven't
Uh-huh.
even gotten to where it can go wrong when the people actually subtitling either are not taking their jobs that seriously
Mm-hmm.
or are taking their jobs way too seriously.
Mm.
Like the people who are taking their jobs way too seriously are the ones who are trying to like intentionally like like zoomify the dialogue just because the characters are young and
Mm.
like when I was growing up, characters in anime didn't talk like
Like
human
me
beings.
or us,
Like they
right? I
didn't
guess.
talk like kids who were my age. They talk
Ah.
like anime characters
Uh-huh.
because I knew I was watching an anime. I
Uh-huh.
didn't need the extra layer of diegesis to like really feel what like no because I'm able to detract.
Yeah,
So
separate from
yeah,
like fiction to
so,
like what's happening. Yeah.
so now when you get things like the Wonder Egg thing, because in my opinion, I think it was unnecessary. I'm
Uh-huh.
not saying like so in Wonder Egg there was like someone says, oh, that's cap, like da da
Uh-huh.
da, like that like no cap, like
Yeah.
and I'm like yeah okay, some kids say no cap, but
Yeah.
number one, these are kids in Japan. No cap
Mm.
isn't really like slang there. Like
Yeah.
they probably do say kapu like they as a joke now
Uh-huh.
because
Yeah.
we say it, but
Uh-huh.
no like
Not
kapuna
widespread. It's not
like
like
kapu
everyone's
like
saying cool.
it's not they don't say no cap, they say kapunai like they like it's not like you know like not
Yeah.
like they say it in Japanese like
Yeah,
you
the
know it's
Japanese way that they
like
would say it.
so it's so even if that's the case, that wasn't the direct translation of the word,
Mm-hmm.
and it also was unnecessary to do because now you know you're gonna draw like dubbing and translating and localizing. These things are not meant to draw attention to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
If you're trying to do a
Uh,
sensible job, the only reason people are doing it now is because like folks are like so eager to like to get this idea of oh it sounds like an abridged series, oh it sounds like
Like
the
ghost
ghost stories,
stories.
the ghost stories. That was like bro, okay, bro, and the thing is it's sad because a lot of the people who work in these who are voice actors now used to be abridgers. Like I
Mm-hmm.
get it, like that's another dynamic of it. But
Uh-huh.
bro, leave the abridging to YouTube. Like
Uh-huh.
we're trying to watch anime here, dog.
Uh-huh.
A lot of
Very
these shows
serious.
don't. A lot of these shows not even that serious.
Not serious, but like, we're just
Like
trying to
you
like
can
enjoy this medium, really,
yeah
right?
you can have fun with localization.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of shows that do that,
Mm-hmm.
but you can't like not to the point where it's gonna
Gets
like
in the
draw
way.
attention to itself.
I think
That's
you
why
said it really well.
that's why the sus thing is also an issue in Nagatoro. Like that's why like people were up in arms about that. Like yeah, we get it. Slang is cool, but
Mm-hmm.
don't use it in anime subtitles because two reasons. One is gonna fucking date it. Like have you understood that maybe anime is timeless and people want to watch it in 10 years and don't want to be inundated with slang that they probably don't understand or like didn't really resonate with them in the first place.
Uh-huh.
Like yeah, ah man.
That's a good point.
So
I mean, you're speaking like true facts. Where I'm like, oh, you
and the
know,
thing,
like I can get like the
I
separation, but at the
sort
same
of know
time,
what's happening, but I watch good subs and dubs.
no. I'm sure there's good
I'm
subs and
joking.
dubs. Like I'm sure there's good
No,
subs
no.
and
I,
dubs.
I,
Like,
I was, I was, I
I
was,
think
I was,
you said it like really well, like where like you've explained
I was
really
joshing.
well like the zeitgeist. I'm gonna come to you like whenever I have like more issues because this is perfect. You know, like
no, yeah,
I get
like
to like I'm into industry and I didn't know about some of these things. So thank you very much. Uh,
I'm trying to get like you, big dog. I need a job in the industry.
Hey, man, you know, hopefully, like, keep doing what you're doing, and you know, like it's gonna pop off, you know.
Oh
But
yeah, no, for sure,
seriously,
for
this was a
sure.
good talk, and I definitely have to have you back on soon. You know, we're pretty much at time at the moment, but you know, I
I
gotta
think
have you
so.
back on.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you
was
for
just listening. I
joining the
was mostly just
podcast.
listening.
Yeah, I was
All
just
right.
listening too.
No,
I was like,
it's great to have you
I'm
on,
gonna
fan base.
start smoking myself too. I was like, let me pull up my pipe and no, but like, serious, this was really good. Thank you so much. You know, is there anything that you'd like to say like at the end too? And also you too, Dave. Like, thank
um,
you.
Dave, you go first.
Oh, sure, yeah. Jimmy, where can we find you? I'm a big fan. So personally, I'm a big fan of Jimmy's videos. I go by fan base. I don't really make a lot of content, and I just lurk and watch other people's stuff. And I really wholeheartedly enjoy Jimmy's anime editorials. So, Jimmy, where can I watch your anime editorials?
Can you please? I know, can you not call it that show that anymore, because I don't make anime editorials anymore. Like
He doesn't make anime editorials anymore.
Okay, so what essentially happened was the general idea of the show is the same, but I don't really call it anime editorial anymore. I don't have a little
froze.
that I used to. I still have that whole
I was like, what
segment
happened?
of my.
Okay, there he is.
Yeah, I still have that whole. Oh, sorry, am I still here? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Yeah.
Freaked out. I freaked out so hard that you froze.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't have what's it called? A name for my current whatever I do on YouTube. I kind of just like start it by throwing up the two kanji that make up 9 and 0, and then I just start talking. Like that's kind of what I do. And then, but like, yeah, if you want to watch the old anime editorials, like when I was doing that on YouTube, that whole like playlist is on my channel. But
Sweet.
now I'm
mostly putting that on our page too. So
now I mostly make videos centered around when I get around to it. I make videos centered around like aspects of the industry, like getting people more invested in like research and stuff in anime. And I have a video that I came out about like not recently, like a month or so ago. It was mostly about what's it called? The buyout of Crunchyroll by Sony. The one I referenced earlier.
Yes,
be able
to go through.
And I kind of like talked about what the consequences on the industry might be for that. So yeah, like long story short, this whole anime industry thing is kind of boof, kind of sucks. Everybody paid badly. The people who make the anime are paid badly. The people who make stuff about the anime are paid badly. Fucking the only people who are eating are the ones who own the companies and the bosses who put shit together. At some point, we're gonna have to burn this whole thing down and make our own shit.
Man,
but until then, stream Yasuke on Netflix. Sayonara, minasan. Thanks for watching.
It's gloom and doom, but at the same time, it's the real. You know, I definitely appreciate it. Like this has been a great talk though. Like, you know, like
for sure.
It does make me like nervous, but at the same time excited for like what the anime industry has to do, because people will have to grow themselves, right? So
yeah, no, I mean all of this doom and gloom could change if, like, again, a revolution needs to happen in the mind before it happens in the streets. Like that's just the truth. Like if this changes how people feels about what the fuck is going on, like maybe they could realize that we don't actually just have to sit by and take it.
We can actually like do something about it, right?
Yeah, I don't have the answers for what to do, but like something could be done. Something must be done.
Hey, I dig
like
it.
an
I'm
anime
glad.
renaissance or
hopefully
something.
I mean, it's been what, like 20, 30 years. It's been 40 years since the last anime renaissance in the 80s. It's about fucking time there was a new one. You know,
wow.
Like,
what would we need? What the hell would we need for that?
New technology, I guess. New animation technology. More people making anime.
Like not
more,
just like the companies already established, huh?
Exactly. Like that. Like the thing that made the last renaissance was a bunch of new people getting into anime. So,
but hopefully, I mean, more people are getting into anime now. So
yeah,
hopefully now's the time. I'm excited though.
Yeah, it feels like we're on the. It does, like, one thing I do feel like, it does feel like the whole world's on the cusp of something in a lot of different ways. In anime, it feels that way, and in hip hop, it feels that way. Like there's just something's coming over the hill. Is all I'm saying. I
like that. Okay, that's pretty good.
A new waifu order.
New waifu order. NWO, baby.
So like like that does make me feel a little bit more optimistic. We are on the way. The world is changing. Hopefully, we all make it together into a better place.
I mean, like with the revolution of the mind thing, like I feel like this whole being locked in the year thing, being trapped with our thoughts, being like forced to realize,
I feel like it was necessary to like sort of push us to grow.
being forced to realize the world around. I'm seeing a lot
We had to
more
deal with our own internal demons, really. You know?
I'm seeing a lot more people come out of this leftist. Are you seeing? I'm seeing a lot more people come out of this getting woke. Like
It
I'm
definitely
getting
showed like a lot of the problems that we have in the world. You know, like before we were just like go go go. Now it's like, okay, we got to deal with this. Hopefully, I really do hope that we're not just going to go back to what we were doing. You know, like I really do hope
the
that.
thing is, if they try and do that, shit's just not gonna work.
Yeah,
Shit's not gonna work. Like if they try and just go back to business as usual, things are gonna get worse and quick.
I hope
Things are gonna
things
get
change
worse quick, and
because they have to change. They can't just go back to what it used to be. Like everyone's suffering, and like now that we got to like sit with our pain. You know, like it's like now we gotta do something about it, right? We just can't really just go back to what we were doing before.
Yeah.
Very insightful
but
stuff. I truly appreciate this. Yeah, are we about to say, Dave?
No. I think that was a good end point for that.
Yeah,
that thread.
yeah. Well, thank you, man. I gotta have you back on the podcast soon. You know, maybe I
Oh,
gotta
no,
smoke.
no,
I gotta
anytime.
smoke with you. You know,
Like scary and cringe.
Anytime.
you
Please delete
every now
my
and then.
video. Please delete the video. Like it's just like
Delete
put, like,
this video.
You know, not the later. Delete my video.
It's a good time. This is a good time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dave, for joining the podcast.
I love listening to Jimmy talk about anime and remind me that anime is indeed cringe.
It's mega cringe, dog. Like this shit is cringe AF.
Just how I like it. That deep fried and cringy.
The new anime renaissance is gonna make it not as cringe, I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to
Hopefully, like in many different ways.
BBB, bring back based. bring back based.
Bring back based La Blue Girl and
yeah.
We're taking it back to the 2000s. Thank you so much.
Bring back based blue submarine.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means, but
blue submarine 6. Oh man, you used to watch that shit. That shit was a classic.
There's a lot of classics I gotta jump into. I'm trying.
It's a quick little OVA. You can get done tonight.
Okay. So many shows to watch, but I'm gonna do my best, man. I'm gonna make you proud.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much for joining the podcast, and to everyone that listened to the end, thank you so much. You're dope. Appreciate y'all. As always, stay dope. Peace.